Well, it's Easter weekend. We're at our favourite venue on Woodland. We've got Helen and Dan over there fishing on the other side. They're going to draw their rods in later, and she's putting a special request. Spotted dick. Well, who am I to say no? I'm going to make that, and we're going to have a chili con carne as well. Should be a good evening. Okay, spotted dick, probably one of the most simplest puddings to make. As you can see, very few ingredients. I've weighed them all off at home before we came. We've just got fresh breadcrumbs. We've got lemon, we just use the zest. We've got milk in this jar. We've got shredded beef suet there, but you can use vegetarian suet if you prefer. Caster sugar, currants, and self-raising flour. So it's just a question of chucking that in a bowl, and let's get it cooking. Okay, as I said, really simple. I've weighed all these ingredients off, so it's just a question of chucking them all in a bowl. This is self-raising flour, so that'll be the raising agent. Whew. It's a bit windy today. There we go, can I pass that over? And we just want the lemon rind. That adds a really nice citrus flavour to the whole thing. Job's good. And then we get our fork. We're just going to mix all that together. Couldn't be easier really, could it? I'll tell you what, with the weather predictions being -4 tonight, nothing nicer to go to bed on. Okay, we've got all those dry ingredients mixed now. It's just a question of adding the right amount of milk now to make a thick batter. You don't want it too sloppy. Just going to add a little bit more. This is a lovely thing to make at home if you're having a Sunday roast. You can get it done hours before. Just steam it in the pan. There we go. We've got a stiff mixture. It's not too sloppy. And actually the breadcrumbs will soak up any excess moisture as well. So that's all there is really. It's just a question now. Whacking that into a bowl. That's an oven-proof bowl or steaming bowl. I'm going to press it in. If I was at home I'd grease that bowl, but I haven't got that here. There we go. I've just got to cover it now. Very simply to steam a pudding. You can make a steak and kidney pudding, any kind of steam pudding or Christmas pudding. You make a pleat like that. The reason for that is because when it rises it gives some room for manoeuvre. So that one goes on. You can do exactly the same with the foil. Make sure they're lined up. Scrunch it over. Like that. Get a piece of string. Tie a knot. Okay, if you can put your finger there. Jobs are good, and trim it off. And what I do, don't have to do this, but I just tied it all up. There we go. Very simply now, that is going to go into a pan with about this much water in the bottom. Lid on, and that's going to steam for an hour. That's all that's needed. I'm going to get that cooking. Right, we've got a nice simmer going on our spotted dick here. Going to make a chili con carne now, while the weather's still dry and it's still light. So, very simple ingredients for my chili. An onion, some peppers, courgette, celery. I tend to use up vegetables that are in the fridge. Probably not officially a chili in that respect, but I want to make sure everybody's getting fresh vegetables, and it's a very good way of doing that. We've got beef mince, kidney beans, herbs, tomatoes, garlic. We're just going to whack this in stages. So the first thing is the onion. If you were really lazy, you could use ready chopped onion, but onions are so cheap, why not just peel them yourself? I always think they've got a bit of a plastic taste as well. By the time you've opened that packet of chopped onion, I will have done it. Here we go. Second one. Secret is a sharp knife. There we go. Job's a good one. Let's get this in there. There's a pan with a bit of oil in. Get that up on full heat. I'm going to cut a celery up. Don't have to use that in a chili. Just as I say, it's a very good bulker. And another way of getting some vegetables down these hungry men here. There that goes in. Garlic. Literally just peel the outside off. Second one. Easiest way to break it, press the blade down on the chili clove. That breaks all the fibres. Again.
Garlic clove even.
Garlic, yeah, not chili. Sorry, slip of the tongue. Pepper, cut it in half. Slip out the seeds. I kind of like everything chunky in my chili, so I tend to cut it quite roughly so you can see what you're eating. That one. Use any colour pepper that you like. An onion on the sizzles coming from the onion now. That can go in. Got a courgette that needs using up in the fridge, that's going to go in. That'll go in as well. Chili con carne is a really economical one to do if you're feeding numbers. Just a question of softening these vegetables. We call that without colour, that means without browning the vegetables, but we're cooking them through a little bit. Really nice colour in there, look. That's pretty wholesome in its own right, so you know, that's a nice lot of vegetables in there to make a nice tea. So we're going to cook these until they're soft now. Okay, vegetables are nice and soft. There we go. They're without colour, but softening. That's what you want. Next we've got to add the beef mince. So just chuck that in with the vegetables. And we just want to brown them now, brown the meat and break it down as we go. So that's going to take another 5 minutes or so. The mince is all coloured in, as you can see. So now it's just a question of adding the finishing touches. I've got a little bit of wine here.
A little bit. We are going to have a party later.
I'll put a little glug or two of that in. There we go. Again, not an official chili con carne ingredient, but I like it, so it goes in. Some chili. There we go. Bit of heat. That should do for now. Some black pepper. Some salt. Some Italian seasoning here that I like to use just for flavour. Bit of that goes in. Got the passata. Just going to whack some of that in. Because we're feeding a few, I'm going to have 2. Goes in. Kidney beans, classic in a chili. Just need to drain that off. So they just go in. That's pretty much all there is to it now. It's just a waiting game. Let that bubble and brew, and the longer you leave it to simmer, the better it will become. Seems to get better the longer you sit it as well, so you can make it the day before if you want to, and it will just get better and better, and the flavours will enhance. Look at that. So now we're just going to give it a good old simmer. There we have completed chili. Look at that. And I'll tell you what, it's blooming freezing out here now. This is going to go down a storm. Look at that. Yum, 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 yum. In this pan, we now have the finished we now have the finished spotted dip. I'm going to lift that out of the pan and cook the rice in this pan. Supper's nearly ready. Oh no, we didn't, did we? Yeah, that's true. There we have it. Delicious homemade spotted dip.
Get it on the plate, sir. Morning. We had a very uneventful night, just the odd few leaks. It was very windy. That southeasterly's now gone right round to a full easterly. And it's cold. But the lake's not frozen, the rods are still in. We're here for another 6 or so hours, so we're still in with the ship. Well, this is something you don't see me doing very often, sheltering from the weather in the bivvy. We've now got a vicious easterly wind blowing and it's freezing out there. We've had nothing all night, although there have been a few fish out over the weekend. There were a couple of small ones out of peg 13 on Friday, I believe, and both Les and Dan managed one off of peg 12 last night, the best being Les's mid-double. We had some great food, however, good company with Helen and Dan, who we don't see very often, and we're back on next week for a 48-hour session with the Woodlanders. Let's hope that weather really sorts itself out and we can have some spring. This time last year we were all wearing t-shirts. Now we've got so many layers on, we all look like Michelin men. Well, that's it for this week for Cookin and Carpin. See you next time.